Hi everyone, Evan Alexander here with another Cinema 4D tutorial. They're ripping up the streets outside of my house here, so hopefully the background noise is okay. I want to talk today about decals, Corona decals. This was added, I think, in version 8, and it's super fun, and there's a lot of different things you can do with this. So let's jump in. I'm here in R25. I'm using Corona. Here we have this beautiful 911 model from 1975. And you can see this logo here on the side. So this is the decal here. And what's cool about this is that I can move this around and I can kind of scale it up. And so if you have kind of one-off graphics and you don't want to get into UV mapping and unwrapping or, I don't know, trying to manipulate different alpha masks and slide things around, this is a great solution because you can do all kinds of cool things with it. So let's take a look at how it works and how to set it up here. I've got a very simple scene here. So we've got a plane and a sphere. That's it. There's an HDR in here to provide some lighting, but that's all. And here it is. So I'm going to come up to the Corona menu and we're going to add a Corona decal. So we'll add this into our scene. Let's get rid of this for a second here. Where are you? Where are you, Corona decal? Here you are, hiding away, very small. We'll make it a little bit bigger. It is represented by this like box here in the scene. And the box has to, which is, I should say the box is like expandable here. The box has to intersect the geometry that you kind of want this to project onto. So we've got our decal, but nothing's happening yet here because we haven't told it what to put on there. So the way this is going to work today is we're going to add a material here, and we'll call this decal. Just like you're building any other material here. So I'm just going to come into the base layer here, and we'll add this piece of sheet music here. And you'll see here, again, looks like nothing has happened because we haven't added the decal. Haven't added the material to the decal, I should say. So if I click on the decal and bring up its properties here, you can see here we've got size. Now this is great. However, we you can tell already before we even turn on the renderer that we're kind of stretching out our sheet of music. So there's this handy fit to bitmap image where you can kind of load up that same bitmap that you just did, and there you go. Everything will kind of pop into place here. So let's fire up the renderer here, and we should still see that nothing has happened because this is not intersecting any of the surfaces. But if I move this down here, or you can expand and shrink this here, now you can see that anywhere that I move this, we get this really nice kind of one-off mini graphic, if you will. So that's really handy, and you can see here as we start to kind of move over the sphere, maybe we'll expand this up a little bit. You can see that it's doing its best. It's stretching out a little bit, but it's doing its best to kind of project over this kind of scenery, which is great, this bump we have in the road here. I'm going to come back and click on this again. You can see here that it says show material preview, and this is basically for your viewport here, just if you want to see it or not. It's probably good to see this while you're building, maybe not so great while you're working on the rest of the scene here. So that's super handy. What else? So the decal will take on the properties of the material. So what does that mean? So if we come back here to our decal material, which has the sheet music in it, the roughness here by default is up at 75. And so if we start to lower this down, you can see as we make this kind of material more glossy, the decal also shows that. So you have now independent control over the kind of sheen, right, of your actual decal, independent from kind of the rest of the scene. So that's cool. And you can also do, things like displacement, for example. If I'm just going to load in a very ugly noise here just to kind of show you that the decal can also have things like bump and or displacement. So that's cool too, because you can do, I don't know, different things like graphics of carpets, or if you want to put cracks and, kind of rayed spots, puddles, whatever, into your material, you can do that as well. I'm sorry, into your decal as well, which is kind of great. And also, I should mention that alpha masks work too. That's how we were doing the Porsche logo there. So if I turn on opacity here, if I were to load in an image, I realize we're using a piece of sheet music here, but if I were to say, tell you what, we'll use the mask from the Porsche logo here. And so you can see that if I were to now apply, right, just a regular old black and white alpha mask, I can, right, so if your image is a JPEG and it has kind of, background around it, you can still kind of mask it out to get any shape that you want. So that's awesome, if not a little weirdly disturbing, but that works really well. Let's go through here and get rid of some of this weirdness here. So we're back to normal. And then finally, the other cool thing is if you're projecting your decal onto a surface with displacement, it will conform to that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the plane here for a second. And I have another one that is brick and has displacement in place here. So you should be able to see, if I zoom in, that we are getting, the grout lines in this kind of brick material, and that the decal is conforming to the displacement of what it's being projected on. So that's great. So this just becomes this really easy way, if you've got one logo to add, or if you want to do, some kind of, stain or puddle, or I don't know, burn radius, whatever it is, you can kind of use this without having to get into, more complicated kind of UV mapping. And then finally, I said final already, but we're going to say final one more time. If I come into the decal, it has an Exclude tab, and that works just like the lighting systems do. So for example, if I came in here and I said exclude, and I drag and drop the sphere into here, I can now make it exclude the sphere. Or if I were to say include the sphere, that means it would only hit the sphere and not hit the background kind of around it. So, so you can also kind of mask off your decal around specific geometry. All right, that's it. Play around with it and let me know what you come up with. Thanks, everybody.